Welcome back, everybody. It's Grandpa Tim, or Copy Tim, whichever you want to call me. And this is going to be the first 10 rolls of the second box of the last week of September. That's a lot to say. Anyway, so let me refresh here so I can get up here and be able to talk with you good people. Still not got me yet. I'll hit refresh one more time. That's why I can't stream on this computer. Our I don't know. It's our Wi-Fi is slow. There we go. There I am. Now I can get on here and say hi. So please check in if you're here. Please like, subscribe. I can't talk and type at the same time. Anyway, please hit the like and subscribe. I try to show people how to look for errors and how to identify them, and then I occasionally give away BU pennies like this one right here. This is a 1974D that I just pulled out. That one's got a repunchment mark, so I'll be put that to the side. There's also double die obverse on this coin that you can look for. Don't see the strong markers on here, but it could possibly be. I do see a couple spots where it looks like it might be a double die, but it's definitely a repunchment mark from the 70s, and it's AU red, so that's the ones you want to get. 81, there's nothing to look at. 22 2D, there's a pretty nice 63D. So on that one, you can see that one's repunchment mark. That's a triple D right there is what that one is right there, but it does have a head on it. I don't know the number of that offhand, but as far as keeping, I'll throw that in the pile. But let's see what we got for copper here. It looks like a lot of copper. I've not seen any wheat pennies jumped out. I did take out quite a few crappy coins, not crappie coins. We take out crappy coins. I fish for crappie. That was me on a crappie dam. Because panfish is my game, brother. Let me tell you what. My tribe would never go hungry. I learned a lot of tricks from the Indians as far as fishing are concerned, and a lot of things a lot of people just don't commonly know. You know, it's kind of nice to have grown up where I did. There's a man sitting on a log with a plan, but that's not there. You can see a little bit of the doubling at the bottom there. It does show indicator, so a different double die, but that's not the right one. A lot of times you see a crack come all the way down the bootstrap. You want it to come all the way out to the rim for it to be worth any money. Sometimes it comes off the head of the hammer here. Other times you see it come off the top of the forehead. Sometimes you see it come off to that end of that bowl. Sometimes a split of the log. You want to always watch for a cud die right there. Just a couple things you look for on that particular one. That's red enough and BU enough that will go in the AU roll right there. I do say some bicentennials, but they gotta be in good shape. 2001D is nothing to look at. 14D, 2022, 2001, 21. I think that's a 71S if I would not. Nope, 71D. We'll look at it on our microscope for a longer period next after I get to stack some of these up here. See a lot of copper. Still plenty of street coins to pull out too though. I'm going, this one was pretty bunched up with street coins and copper. Well, it's simply saying about street corners, you can tell they got tar on them. They've been in the street, they go scratched, and the lower grade coins that aren't going to be worth anything, even if they do have a hair on them. There's 15. 13's no good. 14D. But I've been finding some pretty good stuff here lately. Found another 2000 AD. I don't need no more of that. 25D. There's error on a 25D. 73D. That's a good year to check. Anyway, as I was saying, I found a WHAM for 2000, which is not very common. I get one of those about once a month. I get the other ones way more common. That's a really nice 75D. Look at the patina on that. That's a pretty one. That'd be a nice one for your repunchment mark, which it's got. You can see right here the small D over big D. But anyway, it's only got a couple hits right there, and a little bit of scratching on the face and chin. Not bad AU condition, so that's going to repunchment mark container. Let's see what we got here. That's gonna get moved. I get to stack and I forget where I'm at, and I pick up where I left off 15 minutes later, so that's kind of the way I am. So I'm kind of hard to understand, like I said before. You might want to put on. Well, I appreciate that, Coley. I try to better people, and teach them something that can make them some money. Cause truly, this is so much better than gambling, and that's the way I look at it. It's like I got 2,500. We got 2,500 lottery tickets that cost us pennies a piece, but we still have the same amount of money at the end when we're done, so we don't lose ever. All we ever do is we increase the value of the coin that we picked up and saved. Who knows by how much? So a lot of people say the 59Ds. See this one? It's got a little stretch on theirs. There is a couple pretty valuable repunchment marks. There's a triple D, and there's this really crazy stuff to look for, but I'll keep this. I don't know how many 59Ds and Ps I got, but Ralph finds treasure. He used to save every single one. I don't know if he still does, but how many does a guy need? I know they're worth 3 cents when it's legal to melt them down, but man, I tell you, you start to run out of boxes, and I'll just give you an idea of how many pennies I've hunted. I've ordered 2 orders of 502s at a time, 2 different times, and I still have some empty tubes, but I'm getting low again. But it is what it is, the more time you put it into it, the better off you're gonna be. The quicker you get at things, the more your eye gets trained. And that makes it all the more profitable for you. And it's a time game, it's a money game. I just keep on recycling the same money over and over again. I try to work. I was working up to 10 boxes a week, and that just got to be too crazy, because it just at 10 bucks a week, $5 a buck is too heavy. I prefer to stay under right around $4 a bucket for me carrying the sea on. I can only carry with my left hand because, oh boy, look at this one, guys. I can only carry with my left hand because of my strokes, but look at this 1960p. Now that's AU because it's got these spots, but look at that sucker, isn't that nice? Can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at that. We'll look at the back of it. She's in pretty good shape. So on this one, you want to really look at the U on the back on the obverse, and then you want to look at your dots. You want to look at your dots, make and see if they're oval shaped. You want to look at your tops and bottoms, letters or the notches. Looks like a notch right here on the end. Looks like a notch on the U. It's a possibility. I would have to get my book out to look more. But anyway, it's nice, nice enough 60 that of course to get set aside as a VU coin. So look right behind here. That's one thing I like about Iowa. Here's a real AU 66 right behind it. It's got a few more spottings and it's a chance for a double die again. It's just you get a lot of good coins in Iowa. For some reason, the coin, like I said, the copper sells in this area for some reason, and I'm not complaining a bit. Me and Rob have done some trading for mats and coins, and I know I had set his copper record at over £5, but he had one that beat it on down the road, but. I would trade with him for a while, but I traded for a bunch of mats for my grandkids. I got 5 grandkids and got a 6th one on the way, and they're all gonna have albums that are all as close to match as I can, and I got most of my main stuff that I've needed to for them out in the wild, like the 31S. I never bought one. I found them all, and in good condition too. So those are some of my big wings. I've never found a SVDV, but I found the regular VDB 8 times now, so I'm pretty happy about that. That's not a common one. One of my white ponies is find the large or small 1960 over each other. Those are really tough to find. Yeah, it's pretty much $100 coin when you do find it. It's in a decent shape, but it doesn't come up very often. Now I don't buy tubes and search them, even though I do a lot of business with Joe Durbin. I buy rolls from him but I don't search them because I keep those for my grandkids because old rolls go up in price. They're never gonna depreciate as long as you got people collecting coins. And so, we got such a limited window opportunity to get pennies because they're gonna do away with them. And then it's gonna be who's got pennies to fill in the blanks and the orders and the holes in people's collections, because I'll tell you what, finding really nice pennies is not easy to do today, in good shape because. You can see all the street coins I'm dealing with it right here, and a good third of the box is coins that you don't really need to look at. Other than this, the surface is so gone. You can see that it's not going to be anything you can save, or you're going to want to try and sell. If you wouldn't buy it, nobody else is going to buy it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb. If you wouldn't buy it, nobody else would. So I try, whenever I set a coin to the side to look at later, it's because I'm going to do hundreds of the same coin at the same time to make sure I get the right mint marks and get the right identification. It's all about having reference materials. I got lots of videos bookmarked from other people. You know, I've learned from a lot of people on YouTube, and you know, there's a lot of information out there. Not all of it's good information, but you know, a lot of people don't won't tell you what I'll tell you. I'm a strange fisherman. I was. That's why I had so many sponsors. I used to fish in 10 states. So I mean, all the way I'd go all the way down to Alabama and Texas, and you know, it was just a blast. You know, I'd give seminars on fishing all over the country, and you know, I was sponsored by Crappie Pole, Outlaw Crappie Poles, and Magic Jigs, and Crappie Rocket Jigs, and Gotcha Gear, and I was out there and I was doing it, guys. You know, of course, you know, God had a different plan for me. He wanted to humble me because I got too prideful. I was pretty successful. We actually took second one year in the point teams race. We only got edged out by 3 points in the very last tournament. But we were leading until the very last tournament. We got edged out, like I said. But the Rogers team on in Crappie. I mean, them guys are good. They're good friends of mine. Charlie and his son, Kevin. Great people. Great people. And the Bun teams, more great people. A lot of people in Missouri that fish the tournaments are really good people. You know, they're just Midwest people you can't really go wrong with. You know, you find a lot of kind people in my area. I mean, just a lot of people just like to pay it forward, and you know, that's a great feeling to belong to that kind of, you know, that kind of community. You need to go to bed, okay, buddy. We'll sleep well. I'm glad to see you, man, and we'll talk to each other again. You have a wonderful night, buddy. Thanks again. You have a great night. See you soon. Yeah, you get some nice coins here for some reason. They always are mixed in with a bunch of terrible looking ones. It's like you know, it just amazes me. You know how one coin from the very same year can look like it's brand new, and the other one look like it's been through hell and back. You know, it's like the life of a coin could only speak like this one. You know, it's been heated up, and see, it's not even worth looking at for air because it's been artificially toned, so it's automatically discounted. So this one here has been clean, so it's discounted down with got dang. That's, you know, this one's got dang, and this one's got tar. And look what's this. Look here, guys. See, that's you gotta watch your dimes if they got tar on them. See, I just made 10 cents or 9 cents. Woohoo! Made look a whole 10 cents, guys. Yeah, there's profit. Anyway, I get a dime about every third box or every other box. Sometimes I get, you know, scads of them. I had one bag I bought off a guy that had 21 dimes and $50. I couldn't believe it. Or I think was it 20? Maybe it was 23 dimes, but it's 20 something. I was blown away by that, you know. And it's just tar, you know. The dimes get stuck to a back of penny, and that's how they get in there. But just wanted to show you that, you know, that's what happens. So. And a lot of times, what I do, just a little tip for you, the coins that you find in your rejection trays, you know, other than pennies, if it's a dime, I don't run them back through the sorters because sometimes they go right back into the penny slot, and you don't get the 9 cent profit that you had, the 69. So I spend them outside of the, you know, the coin exchange and stuff. I get rid of those, the traffic, you know, whenever I stop in to buy something, I try to make change to where I get the most optimum stuff that I can get back, like three quarters versus, you know, or sometimes I purposely try to get 3 quarters and 3 pennies or 4 pennies at the same time. So I try to get 29 cents change back or something like that because there's going to be less coins that are available because so many people have picked up coin hunting because there's money to be made. I mean, let's face it. I mean, when you can quadruple your money or make 100 times your money on a single coin. I mean, that's a bingo, as I say in my area. As far as they used to call it a ganga. Now, I understand that's got a different meaning in the urban dictionary now, so I don't say that no more. But anyway, 82 cocker, you gotta look for double die on that one. 94D, nothing. 20D, no. 13P, no. 790, yes. There's a triple repunchment mark that's really worth some money on that year. AD. I got plenty of ADD. Don't need no more. I got my share at birth. Thank you. But no, thank you. Nice 2 gun. 86. Yeah, I just marvel at some of the AUB coins that I get in my rolls. But honestly, I get proofs here too pretty frequently, and that's kind of surprising. But what really surprised me is I got, I'm not kidding you. It was a 2121, and it was a deep cameo proof in a roll. I gave it to my buddy Paul Hampton, but I couldn't believe it, and I got that there a couple years ago. But it was BU, I mean, and as BU as could be and as frosty as it could be, it was definitely a deep cameo. So, but just celebrate my find, I gave it away. That's how I am. I like to share my fortune if I can, if I can make some of your lives better. That's what I'm about, man. I'm gonna try and be there for you. If I can help you, if I can make your life easier, if I can solve a problem for you, don't hesitate to ask me. All you can hear is no or yes. It's gonna be one or the other. Don't be afraid to ask. I'm glad I didn't learn that earlier in life because I dated far too many women as it was. I was a shy young man, but I learned to be different. I'm different. I'm my own grandpa. No, not really. My family tree does fork, but I did date a couple of my cousins on Atkinson and shut it down when I found out that they were my cousins. That did happen. That is true. What can I say? I got some good-looking cousins. I didn't know they were my cousins, so I've been absolved of that, as I say. Anyway, it would have got serious for us because we really were crazy about each other until we found out we were cousins, and of course we were third cousins and second cousins, so it would have been okay, but still people look down for that and kind of give you the sideways look. So I said, no, that's okay. I said, even though we're far enough apart that we could date, it's probably best that we don't. We don't want to ruffle any family feathers. Older generations are always a little bit different than the same generation you are. But it was kind of funny. So I guess my advice to you guys is don't try and pick up a date at a wedding reception for your family member. You go wrong every time because you're going to end up being related to them. And that's what happened to me twice, 2 different times. And the third time, out in the wild, I met one of my cousins in a bar. I didn't know it was my cousins, and we found out right away when I went home and asked my mom, "What about this one?" "Yep, that's your cousin." I saw. I figured. So I'm related to Myers, spelled 3 different ways, which is insane. Meier, and Meieir. I think my screwed up my ADD. My screwed up the last one, but anyway, 3 different Myers I'm related to. So yeah, we're related to everybody. That's for sure. These farmers had big families with lots of Irish women around here, so that's why I'm German, Irish, and got the big old German head. What can I say? Got the German allergies. Whoa, do I got allergies? But I love my cats to the moon. And I would never trade them for the world. So I suffer. I take pills every day to try to help me with my breathing, and that's why I'm nasal a lot of times because I'm dealing with allergies. I'm allergic to household dust, mold, pet dander, hay fever, ragweed, um, cottonwoods, alfalfa, and if they're cutting alfalfa, I have to go to the hospital. My whole respiratory system shuts down. I can't breathe. They have to put tubes down my throat. That's kind of scary thing, being in corn country. But it's all part of life. So I don't see any weed pennies in this first 10 of coins, which is a shame. I seen plenty of BU coins, which is kind of nice. It's a nice shaped coins, That's a blessing, Them are worth a whole lot more than a penny. You get those mid-60s and 70s and stuff, you talk a couple bucks a coin, and if we talking about return on investment, how much time did it take you to turn a penny into $1? Not much. Not much. And that's a big profit margin. So, the old saying when I was growing up, they used to say, if you mind your pennies, the dollars will come. And let me tell you, it couldn't be more truer today than ever before. You could throw literally fortune away in a handful of change and not even know it. I mean, a fortune. I've pulled coins out of a circulation that you just it shocks you. I mean, it shocks you. It's how did this ever get in circulation? It's like I would never put this in a coin machine. Why would anybody else? It's a proof. And or NFCs. When you half hunt. I'm not a half hunter. I used to hunt them, but they weigh so much, and my goodness, we'd have $1,500 tied up in money, in change, and have to run to the bank and get it, recycled, and it really became a rat race, but that's what it is. So nothing for the first 10 guys. So thanks for coming in. I appreciate your time. I get get the next set going here as soon as I get the wrappers off them. Thanks a lot. God bless y'all. See you later. Bye.